Good morning, guys. Dr. Pete here. You know, I've realized something. A lot of you guys really don't know who the heck I am. You click on YouTube, you see my quick 5 or 10 minute blurb here, and that's about it. So who is this guy? So today, I thought about it. I want to share with you just one day in my life and what kind of an impact it had on my future. Roll it. So yes, my life is pretty darn good. I've been a doctor for 30 years, a lecturer, public speaker, husband, father, a reputable guy in my community. Everything seems to be right on track. But if you believe that this is the way it was all the time, and you're nuts, because it isn't, or it wasn't for sure. I know most of my audience out there is between the age of, 18 and 30. And life can be pretty scary. There's a lot on your mind on a consistent basis. Where will I go to school? Where will I live? Will I have enough resources to get through? Will someone ever love me? Will I be that guy who gets divorced? Will I be able to afford a house in retirement, take care of my family? Can I afford the new cars and toys and travel all over the world to have fun and to get the most out of this life? Well, guess what? When I was 24, I had those same burning desires. And I didn't have all the answers to them. And to be honest with you, who has those answers? Life is really about living. So I want to share with you something that happened to me that really changed my life, and I hope this is something that will give you some perspective in your own life. So I was in Iowa in 1985, and I was going to graduate school to become a doctor. And I was doing a lot of drugs at the time. Not to the point where these drugs were knocking me out and wrecking my world, but given enough time, I'm sure they would have. So I remember one night, me and 3 or 4 friends were sitting in my kitchen, and we were snorting the white powder, the cocaine. We had a mound of it, an 8-ball of it. And we were gobbling that stuff up like it was Skittles, pixie sticks. And I remember around 5:45 in the morning, I was still looking out the window, high as a kite. And I was smoking weed to try to come down from the high, knowing that I had to study all weekend and that I'd never get it done feeling the way I was. I was sitting in my living room, my arms slumped over the lazy boy chair, looking out the window, watching the cars go by at 7 a.m. now, realizing one simple statement about myself. What a loser. What a total loser. You're in your final year of graduate school. You're on the cusp of becoming a doctor, helping to change people's lives while you change your own life. All these things were running through my head. And at that moment, I decided, I had enough of this crap. If it doesn't kill me, it'll put me in jail. And either one doesn't sound too good either way. So I decided to stop. Now that was at the end of the semester, and my buddy Jerry came over to the house. Jerry lived in Long Island, and he says, "Hey Pete, do you mind giving me a ride to Long Island on your way up to Boston?" Now you can imagine we're in Iowa. We got to go all the way across the country. We got to go through Pennsylvania, through Indiana, through Ohio, all the way into New York and Jersey. So Jerry says to me, "Hey Pete, can I put this weed in your car and take it home with me?" It's about a full ounce of weed. Now the old me says, "Yeah, whatever, no problem." I was a little uneasy, but then again, it wasn't my pot. What a stupid thing that was, because if it's in your car, you're going either way. Anyway, I said, "Yeah, whatever." So I'm driving this Toyota Celica. It's a piece of crap. It's the windows don't roll down on the driver's side. The radiator's plugged, so I got to leave the heat on in the middle of the summer in order to get the heat off the engine so it doesn't explode. And of course, I'm crawling through the window to get into the car. So it's around 6:30 in the morning, and we're pulling through New Jersey on the New Jersey Turnpike. And Jerry's driving my little Celica, and there's a state police officer or trooper sitting behind some bushes, and he pulls out and begins to follow us. Man, I'll tell you what, my stomach was in my mouth. My heart was coming out my eyeballs. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. There go the blue lights and they pull us over. Not only do they pull us over, they pull us over at gunpoint, guns drawn to my head. On the passenger side, Jerry on the driver's side. Jerry and I have no time to talk. They just jumped on us like it was no one's business. Get out of the car, he says. Where are the drugs? I'm thinking, what? What do you mean, where are the drugs? I want to know where the drugs are, and I want them now. Gunpoint. I'm like, I'm sorry, sir, there are no drugs in the car. And he said, well, I'm going to find them one way or another. And I'm thinking, holy crap. This is everything I work for, going up in smoke. Instead of becoming a doctor, I'm going to become a felon. And if you have a felon on your record, you can't become a doctor. Uh-oh, now life gets real. He starts unzipping all of the luggage in the back. He finds bongs, one-hitters, papers, everything you can imagine for a good old marijuana smoke-em-up party. There's no marijuana in any of that stuff, though. So he hands it to me and he says, now get rid of it. And I'm thinking, if I throw it into the woods, am I going to get in trouble? Now he's screaming at me, get rid of it! So I throw all the crap into the woods and I'm standing there for another 50 minutes while he searches the car. You get the good cop, bad cop going on. The other state, he's asking us questions, who we are, where we come from, you know, what our future looks like. And he's trying to get us to fess to something. Guy finally turns to me, who's searching the car, and says, hey, I'm going to call in the dogs and we're going to find these drugs. Tell me now, and the judge will go light on you. You don't, I find these drugs, you're going to jail. I mean, we're going to throw the book at you. Now I got to make a decision. I already made one bad decision by putting the drugs in the car. Second bad choice, or first good choice, don't tell him anything. You're screwed either way. I just maintained my silence. Well, he went through that entire car. Underneath, inside the hood, in the engine, he ripped everything apart. The only problem was he couldn't get into that driver's side door because it wouldn't open. So in the back seat were a bunch of sneakers. And he started pulling out the sneakers and looking inside of them. That's where the ounce of weed was. Fortunately for me and Jerry, the one sneaker with the weed on it, he couldn't reach it, and he gave up. And then he said, get back in the car. So I get in the car, Jerry and I say nothing. He comes back and he says, this is a warning. Don't you even think of driving slow in the first lane. And he let us go. We drive away, I'm about a mile into it, and then I want Jerry to pull over so I can beat him senseless. What a stupid ass decision it was. The choices that I made as a young man, fortunately, for some reason or another, actually worked out for me. But they don't always work out. Had it not, I wouldn't be here today, sitting here giving you a great message about my life and my career. But I want you to know this. When you're young and you make mistakes, it's part of the process. Hopefully, those mistakes don't land you in jail and hurt someone else. But all these little choices that you make up who you are. Now, maybe 35 years later, here I am, telling you something very personal that happened to me, somewhat embarrassing. But I did it, and I have to own it. And you're gonna have to do the same thing in your lifetime. You're gonna have to own up to your mistakes. Man up, woman up, whatever it is. You're not perfect, neither am I. You may see me on here or on stage speaking publicly to some major corporation, or in my practice as a doctor, or teaching neurology out on the circuit, and think, wow, he's really got it all together. Well, guess what? It wasn't always all together. There have been plenty of times and moments in my life where I have really made some crappy choices. But they helped me to see the things that I was blind to, and got me on a path where I could make better choices to create an amazing life like this. Sitting outside on my deck on a Monday or a Tuesday morning, speaking to you, some young person at home watching YouTube, just letting you know that you're not alone, brother or sister. Life ain't easy, but you can't point your finger at somebody else when stuff goes wrong. You got to own up to it. And in the future, hopefully, you'll find success, peace, and be able to share your story with some other young person that may help to change their life and put them on a trajectory of success, prosperity, love, joy, and happiness. So that's what I got for you today, sharing a little bit of my life. I hope it helped you and gave you some perspective. If you like this video, throw in a thumbs up. If you want to know more about my life, learn a little bit more about how your life can be better, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to answer them or at least listen to you. You can put those in the comments below. So until next week, have yourself a wonderful day.